Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel. And the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. And yes, we're here for another weekly recap, December the 7th. And you know what? It might very well be my last recap before the new year. And the next one will only be in January. For those of you who are regular viewers, you know that I'm leaving out of town, going to Portugal on a golf trip and to go see my son who lives there. In mid-December. I may have time for one last recap that will air on December the 14th. I will be gone by then, but that means I need to find the time to videotape it before, and I would put it on the air on December 14th for you. If not, there will be, trust me, an exciting alternative. I worked on all my videos. You shouldn't miss a beat. You won't get the recap, which is a kind of a timely thing, but you will get other treats. I can guarantee you, both reviews and other stuff that I've been working on. Been working very, very diligently to make sure that my viewers are well taken care of and entertained during my absence. I might, some impromptu and totally unplanned videos from Portugal, perhaps on a golf course. We shall see. I don't promise you anything. We'll see if we can get all our equipment in tune. There may be some combination of golf and fountain pens. We'll try to find a way to combine the two. I'm not sure how. My packing is almost all done, especially the golf clubs, etc., etc. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I have another exciting show for you. So without any further ado, Fountain Pen Therapy presents its weekly recap, indeed, for December the 7th, 2025. Okay, so the first segment, what's new in the market? Well, Black Friday's gone, and I think people are gearing up for the Christmas rush, as they say. But I just find the market a little dull. I don't know if I'm the only one. So I'm struggling to find something for you guys to shop with, other than the old classics where you got to find them on sale somewhere. But I'm sure Christmas will soon be, you're going to have ads popping up everywhere for sales. Hopefully they will. By the way, I regret at Pen Venture, they had that Gravitas Ultimate, as they called it, that vac filler at 99 euros, and I missed it. It's now, I checked it just to see if the price would be the same. It's at 140. So back to 140. I should have bought it when it was. One of the problems I'm having now is that I really can't order pens because I'm going to be away and I don't know how they're going to get delivered. I don't want them, Amazon or anybody else leaving pens at my doorstep with nobody to pick them up. So my wife's going to still be around because I'm going earlier, but it complicates things when she's not following the deliveries, etc., etc. So I think I'm going to put an end to any more shopping, kind of get in whatever I've ordered already, and then I'm going to have to resume everything when I get back. And maybe from Portugal start ordering so that by the time I get back, I will have some deliveries in. But having said that, here's what AliExpress has shown me in terms of interest. So let's go to my computer. There's this outfit by the name of Pension. It looks like they're a Mahjong clone. I don't know if it's Mahjong, but they're kind of cloning things that Mahjong's doing. So I've seen this word pension before many other things. This is a Pension 146 hammer pattern. It kind of looks like that, the blue Twilight P136 of Mahjong, except in red. Not quite the same, but, very curious. I don't know who this Pension is, but I've noticed they're around. Similarly, there is a, not that one, no, this one there's Booker CR. I think they're Tag Moon. I've seen them before, but again, they're offering a very similar looking pen to the P136. I don't know about that nib. I have a nib like that in another pen, a Booker nib. It's not bad, but here you have it in green. So anybody who's interested in the green color, there's Booker CR. And then this one I've ordered. This is they call it PK Admoc M800 cheap sale, but you go through them and there's all kinds of other pens. But I've ordered this Jinao 9019 with a number 8 nib, but it's got a kind of a Urushi finish. So I'm very curious to see what gives here. And then I saw another reviewer who replaced the nib with one of the brand new Wingsung nibs. So maybe that's what I'll do. Or I'll keep the Jinao number 8 nibs. They're not bad at all, So, but I'm curious to see how this Urushi finish of the 9019 looks like. I've ordered it, and we shall see what gives. I believe I've ordered it. If not, I will probably order it when I get back. Is there anything else that I need to mention? Nothing else for AliExpress. On Goulet pens, I saw this, let me just get rid of that, this brand new pen from Delta. Very nice looking pen, I got to tell you. It's called the Delta Canova Fountain Pen Special Edition. Now, I don't know if this is one of those special editions that I will be unable to order. I'm going to have to check it out. But it looks like another interesting offering from Delta. So that's Goulet pens. On Casa della Stilografica, I like this this sale. But again, I can't order it. Hopefully it's still there. It's coming soon by the time I get back. You can get, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... So you get 15 inks, 20 milliliters, so it's not big bottles, but I guess you get all the Scribo inks, which, by the way, are just fabulous, for 147 euros. I really wanted to order this, but first of all, it's coming soon. It's not there yet, and I don't want anything being delivered at my door where you have to pay custom duties, etc. when I'm not around. So that's an interesting offering from Casa della Stilografica. I also noticed that they have this Write-Tech Click-Tech. This kind of, because I'm doing that special video on retractable nibs, I was wondering whether or not any of you have any experience with this Write-Tech Click-Tech. It seems to be something that's very popular and cheap at 15 euros. I think it's even cheaper on AliExpress. Except I don't like the idea of having that little door sticking out when you're writing. But if anybody from you guys, you've seen this and used this pen, have it, let me know. Is it worth it? Does it dry up on you? Does it write well? Let me know. Okay, so I look forward to hearing from you. Essentially, that's it, folks. I mean, there's plenty of other stuff, but it's the same. Gold Spot's got absolutely nothing except the same old thing. I know Navlar's trying to sell pens at $350. Esterbrook with the same things. I mean, I just don't like either company, so you don't see very much of them on my channel. I just don't believe in them. I think they're overpriced and overhyped. But having said that, that's it. If you got anything else, send it over to me and we'll share it in the comments. So that's it for what's new in the market. Stay tuned for my next segment. Okay, for the next segment, what's new in the Fountain Pen Therapy studios? As promised and as usual, we will have three things to show you. We'll have brand new paper, we will have brand new inks to suggest, and we will have our pen and mechanical pencil haul for the week. So there you have it. As usual, we shall start with the paper. Now, this paper, I did introduce this paper to you last week, but I just showed you an unboxing. But this week we will actually take a look at it in more depth, and especially we shall be doing a writing sample or an ink swatching on this paper. You'll remember that my son went to, one of my three, went to Japan, and I asked him to surprise me to go to a ITOYA store in Tokyo and buy me whatever he can afford, and I tried to say to him, please concentrate. I'm showing you some shots here of ITOYA and all the interior of the store, and all the goodies he saw, and he was actually very, very surprised how that store was so packed with people, very popular. He bought himself some stuff. His two pals that were with him did just as well. But here is one of the things that he got me, and this is what they call the ROMEO paper, and it's an ITOYA paper. So it came in this nice plastic sleeve. It's hard cardboard. It's spiral, metal spiral, two hard cardboards on the side. So it opens up nice and nicely. The pen is very coated. The paper is very coated, very similar to moramine. I would say to you, I can never pronounce that word. Very, very, very coated. We'll see how it reacts to ink. It has an opening page here with the human brain and kind of a skeleton with all the bones, I guess. It has a ruler right here. What else does it have? That's it. Does it have a back? Oh, that's simple. Doesn't have the name. The pages are not numbered, but it opens up nicely. So we'll be able to compare this with some Tomoe River just to see how it all reacts and how it compares. So that's it. That will be my notebook, ROMEO, since 1914. It's a ruled version. Beautiful, beautiful souvenir. I'm going to have to find a special place in my heart for this to see exactly what I will be doing with this notebook. We have time to think about it. In the meantime, we'll do some swatching. So without any further ado, what we'll do is we'll set up my inks, show you those inks, and we'll do some ink swatching. Be right back. Okay, so we're back for the inks. Now, I have 5 inks in front of me. These are not newly purchased. These have been part of my collection for some time. And so here they are. I have 5 inks. They're by the name of, and these are just stickers I put on them because they don't have didn't come with any labeling at all. So CALLIFOLIO Adrianople, which is kind of a red Bordeaux color. CALLIFOLIO Olivestre, which is kind of a green. We have CALLIFOLIO Ardore, kind of gold yellow. CALLIFOLIO Inti, I guess is the word. And this is kind of an orange brown. And then we've got a CALLIFOLIO Omi Osu, which looks like a kind of a blue black. So here you have the 5 CALLIFOLIO inks. Here's my ROMEO. We will put the ink swatches at the back side of this notebook. And instead of Tomoe River, I changed my mind. I have I bought a bunch of loose leaf Cosmo Air Light paper, discontinued, of course. And I figure, why not? And maybe it'll, kind of keep that Tomoe River paper for other uses because I've got a bunch of this paper. And as you know, Cosmo Air Light brings out nicely the inks, so that should be a fun comparison as well. So there you have it. So without delaying things, let's go with this CALLIFOLIO Inti, which is this kind of orangey brown color, I would say to you. I think more on the orange side than on the brown. We got 5, so we need to space this out properly. Here we go. Forgot my towel. I'll put my towel here. Whoa, spilled. Okay, so this is CALLIFOLIO. And I think they call it Inti. I-N-T-I, if I'm not mistaken. So this is CALLIFOLIO. Inti. It's too bad I spilled that. I always manage to spill something, don't I? Okay, so it's an orange. I wouldn't say it's a brown. Here is CALLIFOLIO Omi Osu, which is kind of a blue-black, I would say to you. That's the way I would describe it. But maybe it's more blue than I think. We shall see. Okay. So Omi, I forgot the name. Omi Osu. I can tell you that on that orange ink, it really feathered on me. Now, I don't believe that this ink is known to be a problematic ink. It always struck me, a long time I haven't used it, it always struck me as being an ink that's well behaved and kind of standard, nothing outlandish. But so far on that orange, on this paper, it's not reacting too well to it. Here's the greenish, olive green color. So olivestre. There we go. It's not, an overly popular ink. You don't see it too often, and not too many have this for sale. I forget where I've had this ink for a long, long time, and I frankly forget where I purchased it. I'm going to try to find it so that I can put at least a link in the description. Okay, this is the burgundy. Wow, that's a nice burgundy. There we go. After I dip it, I'm going to have to check the name again. Can't remember it. Adrianople, I think it is. Adrianople, yeah. So this is Adrianople. I can tell you, it really looks nice on this Cosmic Air light paper. I know that Hemingway Jones was looking for, he can't find an acceptable burgundy to replace the Mont Blanc, the discontinued Mont Blanc. I don't know if this would suit his fancy or not. I don't remember what that Mont Blanc looked like, frankly, so can't comment. And this is kind of a yellow gold. That's the last one, the fifth one. Yellow is always difficult because unless I can really write with it, in other words, unless I could see the writing when I write with it, it's not one of my more popular inks. In fact, probably one of my less popular inks. I have quite a bit, but that was early on. I was just excited because yellow is my favorite color, but not with inks. It's CALLIFOLIO Heure Dorée. Here we go. So let me just wash that out. So those are the 5 swatches. So far on this Japanese notebook, it's the ink appears to be really flat, not very exciting, and it did really feather on me for this particular color, but I don't know, maybe there was a bit too much water there, or it was too thick. I don't know what happened, but certainly it didn't go well for this first one, but the other ones are not bad. But you know what? Let's see when they all dry up. Nice colors, vibrant, and we'll see what gives. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. They're fairly dry. Let's first of all take a look at, on this Cosmo Air Light, it kind of gives you the performance. You can see they're pretty flat. I don't see a lot of shading in the inks, frankly. I see some shading from light to dark, but very little sheen. So pretty standard inks, I would say to you. And what does it look like on the other side? This is a thick Cosmo Air Light paper, so I don't expect too major damage. As you could see, just a little bit of see-through, but no ghosting at all in the writing in any event. As far as this Japanese ITOYA paper is concerned, even flatter, I would say to you, much flatter. You don't even see any shading, frankly. What does it look like on the other side? It went right through for the ink, but the writing is not bad. The writing is not bad, but you could see it's even affected the next page. I'm going to ink some pens up with at least 3 of these inks. I'm going to ignore the orange and the yellow just because I just don't use those colors. But I will try to ink up 3, the blue, the dark blue, the green, and the burgundy, just to see how they write. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so what have I got for you in terms of pen haul and mechanical pencils for you this week? I've got a couple of pens here that I want to show you. First of all, I mean, for those of you who saw my video during the week, I did get this in during the week, so and I published my video immediately. I did it right away for you folks. Beautiful, beautiful Majon P136 with this guilloche pattern, as many of you pointed out. I think this is a replica of another Mont Blanc pen, and I'm going to put up for your information a photograph of that pen, which is very, very similar to this one. So this is just not a Mont Blanc 146 coated. It actually goes beyond that. There's actually a pen that resembles it very, very much. But I still, Majon has done that to us all year. I still love this pen. we will revisit the writing with this pen in a second. By the way, I inked it up with that Jacques Herbin shimmering blue ink, and it at least just yesterday it was writing beautifully. So hopefully it will still write for me today. So there you have it. That's the Majohn P136 in what they call twilight blue. The other pen, and I'm not sure I actually showed you this one, but the reason why I'm showing it to you because I will be publishing my detailed review. Oh, by the way, for those of you who haven't seen it, it is a piston filler. It has a Moonman nib, which is a 1.1 stub. Very nice piston filler. So there you go. That's that. And then Hero 1000. I'm not sure I mentioned this to you. Initially, it was a little bit of a disappointment. I just thought it would give me a little more. But you know what? I've grown fond of this pen. One of the reasons is I think I'm not overly fond of these hooded nib type pens. But slowly but surely, I'm doing a video on them because I have quite a few just in my collection. And, I'm growing fond of some of them. Not all of them, but some of them. I guess once you see the Waterman Carène, once you see the Waterman Edson, the Schaefer Legacy with those beautiful inlaid, long, very aggressive looking nibs, this little tip sticking out, it just doesn't intrigue me. I know that the Parker 51 is one of the most popular pens that was ever made, but I'm not sure. They say that this is 10 karat. So stay tuned for the review. We'll go through this pen in detail, and the review will probably go up this Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. And what else did I get in terms of pen haul? As you know, I'm planning to do a video, and I've been mentioning it, but I'm just getting the pens. I want to make sure I have all of them, or most of the ones that I think I would be interested in showing you. These are these capless or pilot vanishing point or retractable nib pens. And I got in a new one, which is this one. I don't know what to make of it. It says Lamy on it. It says that it's a gold nib. It's the focus. When you open up, it sure looks like a Lamy gold nib. It has Lamy written all over it. 14 karat, extra fine. We're going to do some writing with this pen later on. I'm intrigued. I mean, I hated the nib. It was extra fine. It was dry. So I played around with it a little bit. It's now to my taste, except it dries up on me. So I don't know if you guys have seen this. I don't know. I was under the impression that Majohn was doing these things and had Majohn name on it. But when I look at it, and I'll show you a screenshot of the actual advertisement, a little conspicuous. So is this more than a clone? Is this a counterfeit or, a fake? It looks like, because I can't believe that this Lamy, goes for that kind of price, frankly. But I figured, why not? I would review it, and I can tell you that when it does it right, and it's not dry, that nib now is really, really nice. To the point where I tried putting that nib on my newly acquired or gifted to me by my son, Lamy Safari, a ITOYA Japanese exclusive. I figured I'd put a gold nib on it, and it just didn't write on my Safari. But it certainly writes here. So we will do some writing with this in the next segment. So stay tuned for that. So those are the three pens, if you will. In terms of so I'll put that aside. The mechanical pencils, I'm going to show you my Staedtler's collection, if you will. First of all, I have this cheaper Staedtler, very thick lead, as you can see. I think carpenters use this more than anybody else, but I thought it was really cool. I love this triangular shape, and we'll do some writing with this later on to test that new notebook I got. And then we have the STAEDTLER hexagonal mechanical pencil. Actually, I didn't want to show you that one. I wanted to show you this one. Here it is. This is a standard version, the STAEDTLER hexagonal mechanical pencil. As you can see, it kind of mimics a real pencil. Very nice. This is kind of a matte silver, nice clip. It has the hardness of the nib indication right there. I believe this is a 0.05. So this is their kind of standard version. My son got me, as I showed you last week, this limited edition STAEDTLER hexagonal. The difference being that it has this kind of a matte white ivory fin. It's white, well, more on the bluish white, actually. It's got a kind of a bluish tint in real life, with this beautiful gold trimming and gold clip. And of course, it has that same hardness indicator there at the top. It opens up, and you have your let me just pull that out. Here we go. A nice eraser, and there you have it. So I'm really happy with this. It's special edition. That's one special edition. My son got me a second special edition, which is this one. This is, again, limited STAEDTLER 925/35 limited edition from Japan. Very nice. I got to tell you, just beautiful. Really, really exciting stuff. So this is kind of a gold. It's got a knurled section there, and along with this gold writing, as you can see there. And it's got ITOYA. Does ITOYA appear here? Yes, it does. Both of them have ITOYA limited editions there, as you can see. So I'm really excited about these pencils. And we'll write on that ITOYA notebook with these pencils. Maybe it's a notebook that accommodates pencils better than pen. Then, as part of my collection, I also have this STAEDTLER regulator, as they call it. And we might do a review of this in more detail of all of this collection. But there you have it. Very nice additions to my mechanical pencil collection, the STAEDTLER 5, if you will. So there you have it. Very nice. Stay tuned for my next segment. We'll do some writing, and before just the segment on Pens Revisited. Okay, so let's do some writing on this Japanese ITOYA exclusive notebook. First of all, we'll start off with the pencils. This is the STAEDTLER regulator. Wow. Yeah, very coated. Very nice. Almost slippery. Very nice. I just want to try out this one with the knurled section. And they all look like HB 05. This is the special limited ITOYA edition. Very nice. And maybe with that thicker pen or pencil, this is almost a 2, maybe even a 3. I forget now what number it is. So this is a STAEDTLER. It's not STED, it's STAEDTLER. It's AE. I'm going to call it Carpenter's pencil. I believe that's where I saw it. Came with a sharpener and an eraser, I think. Now, some of you said, why do you put fountain therapy when you're when you're writing with a pencil, because I can't get myself to say mechanical pencil therapy. I just doesn't come to me. And this is my baseline, you know, that's why I always put the same thing, is because it gets me to appreciate the pen, and you know, and I always use the same thing. So those are the pencils I wanted to show you. Let me show you this. The Hero, we're doing a special review, so you'll see the Hero 1000 probably during the week. But you've seen this one if you've seen my review, but let's just see how it writes after a couple of days off, so to speak. So this is the Majon. Yeah, really slippery on this paper. P136. It's the Twilight Blue. This pen is just fabulous. I mean, you know, it's getting me to use my shimmering inks. We'll see how long it lasts. There is some feathering that I just noticed there. So when there's a lot of ink, it feathers because it probably has a hard time penetrating because of the coating. That's just my theory. I'm not sure I'm right about that. Let's see if this focus, I forget what's the name they actually use. Okay, let's see. First of all, let's see if it writes. If it writes, they call it the Dialogue Focus 3 Black Titanium (14-karat) gold tip nib. I don't know what that means, frankly. I don't know what that means. But right now, it's writing beautifully. And as I said, if I can get this thing to not dry up on me, very, very nice. Very nice. Wow. And I got to still play with it. I'm going to see if I can put that nib on my the newly acquired that my son got me, which is this Lamy Safari. Take a look at this. With this kind of a brass clip, and it has, well, it's not focusing, but it has ITOYA branding there. Ex-ITOYA, so it's exclusive to ITOYA, and then it's the Lamy. It's an extra fine, and if I can get it to fit, this black nib is very nice, by the way. We'll do some writing with it. We'll revisit it in a second. But if I can get that nib to write on that Safari, because one of you suggested to me, just to make your son's gift more special, why don't you put a gold nib on it? And I'm seriously considering it. And when I saw this, I have my doubts as to whether or not it's actually gold. But if you know, it writes really nicely and nice and smooth. So I was thinking maybe I'll put it on that gift, on that Safari. But we'll do some writing with this on Tomoe River paper later on in my Pens Revisited segment. So there you have it. Very nice so far. If it just doesn't dry up on me, we'll keep writing with it, and I'll keep you informed. Okay, so I linked up 3 pens to basically test these 3 inks, which are the CALLIFOLIO, the dark blue or the blue-black, the olive green, and this burgundy Andrinople. So those are the 3 colors, as I mentioned, and these are the 3 pens. Let's start with the burgundy. I realized that my pens are probably all inked up, which is not something I readily admit, because it's not the right thing to do. I just play around with all of them, and I never really am taking the time that I should to clean them out, etc. So I had to clean out 3 pens, and this one is the Memento Zero, not the Memento Zero Grande, the Memento Zero, one of them amongst many, and it's got a nice, kind of a burgundy red color to it to match that ink. It has a Leonardo branded Yowo 1.1 stub. So this is the CALLIFOLIO. Adrianople. It's kind of a burgundy red. Actually, when I write with it, it comes down a little more red than it does burgundy, if you know what I mean. But still, it writes very nicely on this paper. And the ink is coming through very nice. Not the sharpest. I don't see any major issues there at all. Okay, that's one. It's actually on the camera. The camera sees it a little more burgundy than I see it. The next, this is, there's quite a story to these pens. I have two of them here, and let me tell you what these pens are all about. These pens were purchased from an outfit by the name of Marte Modena that existed quite some time ago. They had a certain affiliation, a collaboration with Delta at the time, so they were putting out certain pens or kind of Delta Dolce Vita clones with an agreement that they only could sell in a certain market. And I spoke to Nino Marino about Marte Modena, and he kind of frowned and didn't want to talk about it. I sensed that it was a negative experience. But I remember that at the time they had this site where you could bid for pens, all kinds of pens, even Mont Blancs and, on consignment or used. And I purchased quite a bit of pens from them, almost like a dozen. And I also got this set of what these pens are called the Chronicle, I believe. No, these are the Freedom. Yeah, Freedom, Marte Modena Freedom. Very nice, I got to tell you. You see the M there? A very nice resin. They're cartridge converters, and you can see the little bit of a Delta look. But having said that, these are the two pens that I've inked. So this is the CALLIFOLIO, and the name is a little bit weird, Omi Osu. And I would say it's a blue-black. Yeah, and this one too, kind of very nice. The nibs that I'm using here are Marte Modena branded. This one is a broad, but it doesn't write like a broad between you and I. It's writing like more like a medium. Their nibs were, I think they're like Bach nibs from the feed and from the look, and they were just not consistent from size to size, I felt at the time. And I can see that that's still the case. This one, of course, kind of a greenish look, is a medium. We'll see if it gives me a medium line or a broad line. And this is the CALLIFOLIO and it's the Olivestre. It's kind of olive green, as the name suggests. Yeah, and this nib is kind of similar to the other one, but at least it's properly identified as being a medium. But again, it's the ink that's that I'm interested in, and let me just see how it reacts on the other side. So you can see a little bit of see-through, but not much. Let's just check the inks on a Tomo River paper. As you know, that's always my baseline. This is the, yeah, you can see that I mean, I prefer the inks on this Tomoe River. It just flows a lot better and a little sharper than on that ITOYA paper. This is the CALLIFOLIO ROMEO. Yeah, look at this. It's so much better on this Tomoe River. Maybe it's just my bias. As you know, I'm completely sold on. Yeah, you see, it's much thicker on this Tomoe River, and this is the Adrianople. Actually, very nice. Don't like this nib, mind you. I think Leonardo tunes their nibs a lot better now. But, well, by the way, one of the viewers always saying, why do you put semicolon after everything you write? I don't know. It's just a question of habit. I can't tell you why I do it. I do it most of the times. I realized after the viewer mentioned it, because I wasn't conscious of the fact that I was doing. There again, I just did it there again. It's just kind of a reflex, if you will. And anyway, there you have it. So, not bad. I got to tell you, not bad. I think the inks are much nicer, even when they dry. I think they're much nicer on paper than they are when you swatch them. So, CALLIFOLIO. Some things, if you want a straight up ink that doesn't cause too many problems, at least not for me anyway, there you have it. So that completes those ink swatching of CALLIFOLIOs. Stay tuned for my next segment. Okay, back with the next segment, Pens Revisited. Let me describe to you the week that I had in terms of my journaling and just playing around with my pens. Because of my son's Safari, which is an extra fine, and for some of you who follow me regularly, you'll know that extra fine is not part of my vocabulary. I barely can tolerate fine and medium, and that those luscious, wet, thick lines is what I prefer. But this extra fine, after all, it's a gift. So I said, I'm not going to leave it in my drawer as I've done with my other safaris. So it kind of got me to pull out all my safaris and to start playing with them. So talk about Pens Revisited. This thing, the first thing it did is it got me to take out all my safaris. So here they are. I've got them all here, and this is thanks to this pen. So let's just go to my overhead camera. So Pens Revisited. It's an extra fine, but it's a fun extra fine. So here are my, Lamy Safaris. This is my extra fine. This is my ITOYA. And then I have this one, which is the, what do they call the All-Star, I guess they call it. This has a stub. It's an aluminum, and it has a stub. Very nice. And all of these pens, by the way, they write all the time, eh? You've got to give it to them. Then I have this recently acquired. I thought that this was a repetition of this one, but it isn't. I don't think they ever make any two of the same. This one has a bowl? Yeah, this has a broad. So this is just a Lamy Safari. Forget the color. But this is a broad. Very nice. I got to tell you, maybe my son is getting me to use my safaris. Then I have this purple one. I think I bought this purple one with that other blue one. This has a medium. So these are this next one. The next one I have, oh, I should put my All-Star there as well. Then I have my, what's the cheaper version? I forget what they call it. I'm not even sure there's any ink in here. But this is a medium as well. I don't think there's any ink. Yeah, there isn't any ink here. I forget what they call this version, but it's another Lamy Safari type, but they gave it a special name. I also have a Lamy, it doesn't have a converter, a Lamy demonstrator, okay? And then it got me, because it's in my Lamy drawer, it got me to look at my much maligned 2000. What do they call this? Yeah, the Lamy 2000. I even forget the name. What an awful pen. But let me see if it writes. It skips. It's not because there's no ink. It's just you need to find the sweet spot, and I can never get it. Oh, I'm getting it now, but I just can't write with this pen. It just... Quick brown fox. And skip there. Jump, skip there. I mean, it's, you know, it's thin here, it's thick there. I can't write with this. It's just an awful pen. It might be the engineering wonder of the world, done by, you know, the most important engineer in the world, designing expert and all the rest of it, and it's iconic and everybody loves it. I hate it. It's got to be the worst pen in my collection. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. So, any event, go back to my story. The next thing that this thing got me looking at is fine nibs. So then I started looking at all the fine nibs that I have in my collection, and it got me to look at, amongst other things, my Dieman collection. And from this, I said, you know what? Next week will be my Dieman pen week. So I've pulled out a bunch of pens. I took out all my pens. I don't know, maybe 30 of them, and chosen 10, 11 for my weapons for next week. So this pen led me to the Dieman. It also led me to look at, as I mentioned, to look at other pens that I had to have kind of a fine line. And I had to revisit this pen because I had forgotten that I had it in my collection. In fact, I was shopping around for, this is a Sailor Pro Gear, and I forgot all about the fact that I had purchased this. I think it was on sale on Amazon. I have a Pro Gear, and I'd forgotten all about it. This is the Sailor Pro Gear. And I believe it's not the slim, it's the regular. And has 14, or is it 21 carats? No, it is a 21 carat. And it is what they call an MF. Medium fine, I guess. Typical sailor experience that you get in every sailor pen, from the 1911 to the slims right up to my King of Pens. Very nice. So thank you to this pen. I remembered, and maybe it's just I'm getting senile with old age, I had forgotten all about this beautiful pen, which is the Sailor Pro Gear. I have it, so now I can stop watching it, or looking for it, I should say. And in that same voyage, it got me to revisit my last Pen BBS purchase, which is this 556 in this kind of nice, well, it is a demonstrator, but it's got all this brown veining, if you will. So this is the pen BBS 556, and it does have a fine nib. And, it's just too bad the pen BBS has not come out with some of you have said, you never mentioned pen BBS. Well, I never mention it because, frankly, they don't come out with anything. I mean, they have these beautiful, expensive nibs that you can buy. There's this 556, but it also reminds me of the fact that there's a new one coming out that I've ordered. So stay tuned for that, right? So there you have it. Pen BBS Revisited. Very nice pen. One of my fine nibs, and writes very well. By the way, I picked it up. I hadn't written with this thing since its review months ago. I believe it's months ago. Certainly weeks ago. I know it's got to be months ago. And wrote like as if I just inked the pen. And in that same voyage, talking about pens revisited, let me just go to this page here, right here. I discovered rediscovered these two. Now, don't get excited. They're fakes. But, man, they're good fakes. One appears to be bigger than the other. They're both supposed to be 146s, I think. But can you see the difference? They both have the Mont Blanc logo. Do they have They don't have a number, or do they? No, they have that Bix Masterstruck Mont Blanc engraving. But it got me to revisit these pens. And let's look at how they write. Absolutely spectacular, guys. I'm convinced that if I had the real thing, because I have a Solitaire 146 Le Grand, I don't have an actual acrylic one like this or precious resin. I'm convinced that it wouldn't write any better than this. Absolutely spectacular. And I had not written with this pen since I purchased it. I did not review it, but I am working on Grail pen alternatives, kind of a follow-up video to my video that I prepared not last year, I believe the year before. So that's the one in that gold trim. This is the one in the silver trim. Now, is this supposed to be like the 144 or 145? I'm not sure. By the way, both are fake. They have a blind cap. They don't open up here, and that's where they get you. So it has this kind of a funny looking. You can pull out the converter, but it doesn't open up here. I believe the other one. Now I'm going to make a mess. No, this is an actual pen. This is actually a piston filler. Imagine, because you could see the ink window. You see the ink window there? My camera's not focusing properly, but trust me, there's an ink window right there. So this one is even a piston filler, imagine. And this one, that's a converter. Let's see how this one writes. Incredible. And I'm going to say a 144 fake. Just if there is such a thing as a 144, I believe there is. And I believe it's just thinner and smaller than the 146. Or is it the 145? I forget. You guys will let me know. But look at how smooth this thing is. This is kind of writes more. This is more like a medium. This one is almost like a broad. And there's no indication on the nib, of course. But let me tell you, it's just spectacular. And I know I shouldn't be encouraging this sort of thing, but I can't help but show you that if you're looking for alternatives and you can't afford the real thing, and it even feels like precious resin. Not like the old days, they'd make pens that look like this, all metal, that wouldn't write, the nib, it wouldn't open, just garbage pens. But not now. It's incredible. So I did want to revisit those. Now, what else have I got for you on the revisit front? Oh, Infinigraph. This is the Infinigraph, supposedly a Kickstarter project. I saw the same pen being sold on AliExpress for half the price. I wrote to them, the people who sent me this pen, and I said, what's the story? They never answered. But apparently this one, the new version that's part of the Kickstarter, fixed the dry nib issue. That's me. You know what? Still, after a couple of weeks, not bad, but it is a little dry. Now it's starting to skip on me. It's not as performing, so I had to kind of prime it through use. But it's not bad. It's been a couple of weeks. I can tell you that there's some expensive pens, which brings me to look at this one. Just give me a second. Yeah, let's revisit this one. This is a beautiful, one of my Grail pens. It's a Conway Stewart Churchill. Beautiful, beautiful pen, vintage, 18 karat gold nib, and it constantly dries up on me. Unlike some of my other Grail pens where I can leave in the box, in the pen case for, weeks and months, pick it up and they write. This one is not done. Now, about a week ago, I inked it. Let's see if it writes. With a very nice ink. Let's see if it writes. Oh, thank God. Very nice. I think this is the Sailor Standard Blue ink, if I'm not mistaken. I forget the ink, but I chose an ink that I thought would perform and not dry up on me. The nib is so luscious on this pen. But again, as you can see, the revisit mind just kind of takes you through all kinds of things. And there you have it. And let me just show you the journal, the journey I went through during the week with some of these pens. Where did it start? I believe it started, and this is how I journal. I don't put down my thoughts about during the day, and that's not what I. Okay, where was it? Yeah, here it is. Okay, and I say, this is Matthews, that's my son. Special edition Lamy Safari from ITOYA in Japan. The nib is an extra fine, but writes beautifully. I question if I need to change it for a gold Lamy nib. And then it got me going. This is the fake Lamy. That was that dialogue we just saw. From AliExpress, I could change this nib and replace it in the Safari. This nib writes and the other one does not. Strange. When I switched it wouldn't write. That led me to the Lamni nib in gold will be juicy and smooth. I'm going to check it out at the Stilo store. That's a local store. And so that's the journaling that I do. And then it took me to my Lamy stub. It took me to my other Lamy broad. I continue my journaling, and then my newly found love for a fine nib. And then I went through all my fine nibs. And I went through, and then it got me eventually to get into my Undian. So here's my Undian D1. This is my metal C2. This is my Undian A6. This is my Undian 100. And I kept going, and I had a wonderful couple of nights. This is much maligned N24 that I think I'm going to keep next week. This is the N10 with the black number 8 nib. I then went through my Undian A10, and I described the writing experience. That's my A9. I went through my old and new version of the 100, as you can see here, and so on. This is my favorite Canada Maple Leaf N8 with that rose gold medium nib, another forgotten gem of a pen. I'm going to pull that out for you, so we'll take a look at that. But as you can see, that's my journaling. So that's the way, that's the journaling I do during the week. You know, I journal, I have fun with pens, and I describe what I'm writing and my writing experience and where I should go from here and how I should change things, and gets me to, ideas for my YouTube channel or for my purchases, etc., etc., etc. So that was my journaling journal, and it all started with this beautiful gift from my son. There you have it, Pens Revisited, folks. Stay tuned for the next segment. Okay, so I'm back. Here are my pens or my weapons for next week. As I mentioned to you, from that Lamy Safari Extra Fine, it got me thinking, and it got me to revisit my Undian pens. And I have revisited, I counted them, there are approximately 40 of them. Actually 36, 48. Because I have 3 drawers like this, plus another one. So 4 drawers, I believe there's 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 times 4 is 48, and maybe even a couple loose, about 50. So I revisited 50 of them. Some of them I re-inked, some of them I didn't. Some of them wrote off the bat. And these are the ones I've chosen for next week. And so I'll take out my ink journal, my fountain pen journey journal. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but from now on, this is going to be my journal. I think for 2026, I've got some ideas as to how I'm going to be using my journals. We'll get into that. Maybe we'll do that during one of my recaps, and I will revisit with you and give you some idea as to how I plan to use my journals next year. And maybe I'm going to have one central journal where I'm going to keep all of the... oh, by the way, it just occurred to me, I just ordered a bunch of magnets, and I realized I shouldn't. But one of the viewers said, if you want to check whether or not the pen is titanium or not, put a magnet next to it and see if it's steel or not. So, whoops, I spilled it all over. This looks like titanium to me on this P136. Now, wait a minute. Am I putting this right? Where's the magnet? Look at this. This is not... It doesn't stick. Now, are these magnets? I think so. I mean, it's sticking to this. So is all of this titanium? It's kind of pushing it out. Maybe the magnet is meant to work some other way. It's not sticking to any of this. Let me just take another one. This is titanium. This should be steel, or maybe that's aluminum. No. Not working out, is it? This is stainless steel. There you go. See? So it does stick to steel. This one, no. Here, yes, but not there. Is that titanium? That's interesting. What about this? It's supposed to be titanium. It's not sticking. That I can tell you. Something's wrong with these magnets. It's not working out. Maybe I'll wait for the magnets I just ordered. Or some of you will help. No doubt I'm doing something wrong. Because if that's going to be a test, they better work, right? So, okay, let's go back to my original thought. Sorry for going all over the place, but, you know, this is the fun of this show, is that we do things off the cuff, not scripted. Okay, where do we go? Now, I should warn you, not all these pens are extra fine or fine. It just got me to look at my Dieman collection. So this is the N23, which is the N23, which is the year of the rabbit. With that blade, or call it whatever you want. It's got the rabbit, the year of the rabbit. I don't know why my cameras are not. 1 second. It's got the year of the rabbit kind of a design on the pen. Okay, so that's one of the year of the rabbit. Beautiful pen. Just so luscious. By the way, a lot of these pens I inked with those Tatcha inks that I reviewed last week. Those Tatcha inks are spectacular. You have to look into them. You have to have those Tatcha inks. I know they're a little expensive, but trust me, they're beautiful. The next one is this is another beautiful, beautiful pen that I really enjoy. It's got the Canadian maple leaf, so for me it's kind of the Canadian pen, although it really isn't. It's got that rose gold flower standard nib medium. And what do they call this? The N10? No. The N8. I call it the Canadian maple leaf pen. Just beautiful. Oh, the red ink is not Tatcha. I didn't have any Tatcha red inks. The red ink is just the standard Pilot inks that I reviewed the week before, as a matter of fact. This is the much maligned N24 that came with twice. Cracked barrels, returned them. Finally, they got it right. I think this pen is gorgeous. I might be maybe the only one, but trust me, folks, it feels so comfortable in the hand. So this is the N24, Year of the Dragon. And this was one of the pens that I picked up, and it wrote, I mean, you can see it's skipping a little bit, but I haven't written it with this pen in a year at least. I think the last time was when I did my Dieman collection video. And it still writes. The beautiful dark brown ink. I can never get it to line up. I know there's a way, and somebody explained it to me, but I forget. I always get it online. But ideally, this head of the dragon should line up there. Anyway, my N24. I love that pen. This is another one. Look at the pattern. This kind of reminds me a little bit of what we just did with the Mahjong. You know, the same idea where they have the pattern underneath an acrylic finish, I guess. Look at this pen. It's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful pen. This is the Dieman N25. Little slippery, but not. You get used to it. This has got that touch of forest green there. So this is the end, and it's the ear of the snake. Beautiful nib. Somewhere in between fine and medium, but it's a special edition nib with the dragon on it for the ear. This Tatcha ink is just great. Just beautiful inks. Then I have this CA35, which is kind of their aerospace pens. They made a few. So this is I have a red one and a blue one. I mean, unlike there's no guilloche there. It's just blue resin, I guess. CA35. The aerospace pen, I'll call it. Again, a beautiful limited special edition nib. In other words, it's got an aerospace theme on it. Okay, there you go. It's kind of the planets or a solar system or something. There's a little rocket, and that's a fine. So writes beautifully. Kind of see that nib, the tipping? Kind of a little bit of an architect grind there. Does it have an architect grind? Let's see. Thin, thick, more stub than, not really. It's just my imagination. Okay, what else we got? Next page. This is what is it, the A9? Let me just, bear with me. Yeah, the A9. They'd come out with another one, similar, but it didn't have this plastic section, and the nibs were black. This one is a number 8 steel fine nib. So this is the A9 green pattern. Again, with that Tatcha ink, by the way. And this is a fine number 8. So when it comes to fine nibs, Dieman does it well, so to speak. Sorry, I was out of focus there. Okay, speaking of fine nibs, this is one of my favorite nibs from Dieman. This what is this? The Q5 D5. I can never get it right. I think it's the Q1 or Q5 or something. Anyway, it's the special edition nib that goes with this pen. This is a fine. I have a fine and an extra fine, and this to me it gives you the bounciest and the flexiest or springiest nib in the Dieman collection that I have anyway. So this is, you know what, I want to get this right. Okay, it's the D5, not the Q5, the D5. It's the D5 Qin Dynasty. And this is a special edition fine nib. And I don't know if you could see that. Look how springy it is. Spectacular. One of the best nibs, fine nibs, in my collection. Certainly, trying to think if I have a better fine steel nib in my collection. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Very, very nice. I mean, you got some of the Yowo elastic nibs that I really like as well, but they're kind of little bit modified. But just a straight up fine, beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. Number 6. In the number 8, we're talking a different story. But number 6. This is the 100. I prefer the original version of that nib. I find that the new version is pretty stiff. Some have reported springier and bouncier ones, and sometimes you don't get in. Sometimes kind of hit and miss with the new nibs. I don't know why. This is the 100, and it's the original version, at least for North America. The new version that came out, and maybe wasn't new in China, was with a red, the red Chinese star, the emblem. But I prefer this standard, I think they call it flower nib, because that has a flower motif. And this is the medium, just absolutely gusher. And with just a little bit of softness to it. So, and it's a beautiful pen. Piston filler. I mean, you may not like the whole design thing, and then we can get political because it's China, but I'm ignoring that. I'm just a fountain pen collector. I'm not ignoring all the politics. This is one of my favorite Ongdian pens. This is the Ongdian T1, all in titanium. And it has the standard flower medium nib. So let's test this out. Does it cap? Yes, it does. So this is the Ongdian T1 titanium with the standard flower, and it's a medium. Folks, I mean, wow, am I going to have fun this week. Look at this pen. How can we have forgotten Ongdian, Vincent? You forgot all about Ongdian. It's just a pity that they've come out with absolute, maybe I'm over-exaggerating, I think garbage this year. They came out with those wooden pens that didn't work, the A7, the A10. I mean, I just, compared to this, And speaking of similar design, well, you got this one, which is the 1866 Max Forest in this beautiful, now this is a pen. Yes, it's an imitation of the Faber-Castell, I guess. Oh, by the way, this has the lemon nib. Will it write? Yes, it will. This is the Ongdian 1866 Max, I think they call it. But it's got a lemon blade. And I think it's medium. Not the hand-polished one, which is, I find a nicer nib for me, for my writing. This one is the blade, or the long knife, as they call it. It's a little quirky when you write with it. But very luscious, luscious, luscious. So that I'm going to have fun with. Then we have and I keep forgetting this one as well. This is the D1. D1 with a Springer fine nib. Standard again. So this is the, does it write? Yes, it does. D1 or D5? Vincent, D1. With the standard flower, I guess second generation flower fine nib. And whether it's first, second generation, I forget now. But take a look at my video on the Ongdian collection. You get it all there. Actually, I may have one on the Ongdian nibs. Take a look at this. Can you see how springy it is? Almost as good as the D5. In this skeleton finish, which is not bad at all, I got to tell you. It's not as heavy as it looks because of all the, it's you know, it's got all the holes in it, right? So skeleton, very nice. And last but not least, I have a C1 which is in yellow acrylic, which for me, do I have it far here? Because it's part of my review that I'm working on. Yeah, this one here. I have it in these two versions. This one here is a disaster. The yellow one is a disaster, garbage. I think it's in a hooded nib and it never writes. I know that Figboot loves it. I hate it. This one is the C1. I think they call it the C1S, but it has a small flower nib, and this is a fine, and it writes so nice. Now, hopefully it won't deceive me here. Now, there you go. Hongdian C1, but in steel with the fine nib. It's a fine number 5 nib. Now, let me just see if this thing writes. There you go. Never writes. Never writes. I mean, this thing, I hadn't written with this for months, okay? And I just picked it up and wrote. This one, garbage. So I'm sorry to Mr. Doodlebud, but this is not going to go down as one of my best. Got to tell you. So there you have my pens for, or I should say my weapons for next week. Let me just put the eye candy back on the screen. And there you go. I'm going to kind of add in maybe a roll, maybe remove a couple and put it in a roller ball, and maybe one of these pencils that I really enjoyed that my son gave me, and we'll put them in my pencil case. And you know what? It's going to satisfy me one hell of a lot this week. Beautiful. There you have it. Stay tuned for my next segment. Okay, so for this last segment, YouTube reviews. What have I got for you? In terms of other reviewers, I got 3 videos that I really would like to shout out. Doodlebud put out a video in his, that basically goes through his search for, his continuing search for the, the best black ink. And I think he's found one. He's called it the Perfect Black Ink. It's a dominant industry ink. Now, at the time that I clicked on it, it was only available to members, and I'm not a member at Doodlebud's channel. But I think eventually it will get distributed to all of us. I think they get first crack of it. But, I've been interested in getting a good black ink because otherwise I find them all boring. And I think Doodlebud may have gone through the same process and ultimately or found the ultimate one. So anyone who's interested, there you have it. And if you're a fan, of course, you can get to watch it first. Second, reviews from Foodefan. As you know, I'm a fan of Foodefan. And he goes through a series of the best mechanical pencil of 2025. He states that right at the outset that he's gone through the rabbit hole of mechanical pencils. I think he's gone through exactly what I'm going through, except he appears to have a lot more knowledge about mechanical pencils than I do. And all of the pencils he shows, I have, except 1 or 2 that he mentions that are just outstanding, especially, I guess, the one that he claims was designed, or that he states that it was designed by a YouTuber that he finds fantastic. So, again, I can't order. There's 2 of them there. I would love to have ordered it. One from Ludite and the other one he mentions from Caesar. From Caesar. But again, I can't put out any orders at this time because I'm leaving. So maybe when I get back, it's on my shopping list. So Foodefan, well recommended. And then Mickey L. From the Offstage Me puts out a video, Delta Signs of Time. I've always wondered whether or not that pen was worthwhile. I haven't seen the video, but if anybody's thinking about buying that Delta pen, it's very well priced and it's been on my list for a while. So I'm going to make it a point to look at that video, see what Mickey L thinks about it. I trust his judgment. There you have it. Those are the 3 videos that I wanted to give a shout out to. And in terms of my own channel, well, a couple of things. One, this week you've seen the recap from last Sunday. You've seen also my review of the P136 Twilight Blue. What's coming up next week? Well, next week I'm going to try to put together one last recap for the weekend of December the 14th. I will be leaving December 13th, so I will have to publish it or do it, videotape it before. So it's going to be a little, premature early, and may not capture anything that would have happened on that weekend. But having said, I'm going to try to put out something. If not, it will be replaced by something just as noteworthy, I can assure you. And I also, during next week, I will probably be publishing my review of the Euro 1000. So that's for this week. Now, what's coming up for the schedule in that month? As I mentioned early on, I've planned quite a few reviews of pens that I've purchased or had in my on my list for some time. Some of them I videotaped some time ago, I will readily admit, but never got a chance to publish them. So you're going to get to see those. There's some Indian pens, there's some Italian pens there. I also going to put out my yearly my 2025 annual awards. And I was thinking of when should I be publishing these? Should I be publishing these after Christmas, before Christmas, or one before Christmas and one during Christmas and one during the New Year? Or should I be publishing them later on? I want to get first crack at all these things. I always want to be first up, if you will, because I don't want to be accused of copying anybody else. But having said that, what do you guys going to be watching these more readily during the holidays? Give me your point of view, and I'll decide my schedule eventually. I've kind of already tagged where I want them, but I wanted to see whether or not, what kind of input you can give me. I've got at least 3, maybe 4. I'm working on a 4th one that I'm not decided on yet, but I've got at least 3. So there you have it. I won't mention what they are. They're just a surprise, so you'll be pleasantly surprised, hopefully. There you have it. So there may be some block type special videos that I'm trying to get out and that I've been mentioning for a while now. I don't know if I'm going to be able to put them all together. I got some pens coming in, and whether or not I will have the time to do it. Otherwise, there you have it. And I think I'm going to probably publish some stuff from Portugal. We shall see. We shall see what my son has organized. Apparently, he's bought all kinds of equipment, and he wants to go on a golf course, and we're going to try to find a way to combine fountain pens, my hobby, and my second passion, which is golf. We'll try to see what we can do. It won't be long, but it'll just give you, an idea of where I am, what the golf courses look like, what Portugal looks like in the month of December. I heard it's not bad. There's a lot of wind, but it's not bad. It's not bad. So there you have it. That's it, folks, for this week. Thank you very much. If you haven't done so, please subscribe, comment, ring that bell. Let me know, what do you think of all this? I noticed the viewership is kind of, I've got the same people, but I'd like to get it up. And, these recaps take a lot of effort, and I want to make sure that it's worthwhile and that everybody's still enjoying them. So give me your comments at all times. The comments feed the channel, and they help me produce better content. So thank you very much. Grazie molto. Now, having said that, if you do not see me for the next recap, I want to take this occasion to wish you all very enjoyable holidays, whether it's Christmas or any other holiday that you may all celebrate in the month of December and January. I think we will all celebrate brand new 2026 year. Lots of prosperity, but most of all, lots of health and love for your loved ones, for your friends, for your family. Enjoy your holidays. Enjoy your the people close to you. And, if you have time, enjoy your hobby as well. Grazie molto. Arrivederci.